made it obvious. I just got the check for depositing. $750 for the sound wave to get it processed. Won't stop till that shit weighing down my pockets. My main thing's to my main thing. She a blossom. When she eats the pain with the brain, she a doctor. She open up anything thicker than the plot gets. Swear that shit is awesome. Sight for the optics. Young nigga on top. Nike's all I'm rocking, so that all they see is checks from where the head to where the socks fit. No logo on the bifocal, flicking old roach tips. Won't even show my face until all the shows book. Need the cash in advance, leave them all social.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm LaWanda.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we have with us a friend of the show, Bucky Malone, rap artist. And also a very special guest. You might recognize him from Ballers. You probably already seen him in the hit show Raising Kanan. This is the incomparable London Brown.
Thank you.
Welcome, Marv.
Welcome to the spot.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
It's awesome to have you with us, and we are very excited to get started. So I think we'll go ahead and kick off the questions. Tiffany, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I want to start you off because Power has a cult following, and I just wanted to know, how does it feel to be a part of it?
Initially, I didn't know I was a part of Power because I was filming Ballers at the same time as Power. So there's a couple of things to this. One is when Ballers was going on, I was filming. I was filming Ballers while Power was going on. So I never watched Power because I wanted to be a part of it, but I was very grateful for what I had. So I remember I did some press work here in New York, and I saw a billboard saying that Power was done. So I was like, okay. So when this show came around, I didn't actually know I was a part of Power because in my brain, the series had finished. So I thought I was just on another cool show. I didn't really know what it was. And then I found out after the fact that it was a part of the Power universe. So that's to say that it's dope that it all came full circle for me. It was just timing. It was just a timing thing. So it worked out.
Nice. That's awesome. Playing Marvin on the show, your character is something else.
He sure is.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, you are. You're doing an excellent job. And, being that Marvin is, one of the oldest siblings out of the crew, how does his character take kind of being told what to do by his two younger siblings, especially, younger sister?
Well, I think and not to be a spoiler alert, but hopefully people have been watching it. And, anyway, but there's always, the undergird of all of these relationships is quite interesting because Marvin is the oldest sibling. However, he isn't the most responsible one of them all. I think people right now are writing Marvin off too quickly as just very irresponsible, very lacking in a lot of just being very sharp. So they think, but at the end of the day, we got to also understand that Rock still keeps him around. I mean, granted, they are brother and sister, but she does keep Marvin close to her. So I think she's able to see some qualities in Marvin that get overlooked sometimes. But that's why she's on him so much, because I think she sees the potential in Marvin. But there is a little power trip, no pun intended, between Marvin and his brother Lulu, because Lulu he seems to get all the respect in the family as far as from the sister. And that's ultimately what it is. Marvin wants respect from his siblings, but he keeps doing things that work totally against that, Yeah. But at the end of the day, I won't say too much. At the end of the day, Marvin is very loyal, and there isn't much he won't do to protect his family. So I think people will see that as the episodes play out.
Okay. All right. And Ron, you had a follow-up question to Tiffany's.
Yeah, I do. But I got this one, which is also a follow-up to what you just said. Now, London, let me ask, does Marvin feel that he would make a better boss in the series Raising Kanan than his younger sister?
At this particular time, within the timeline of the show, he does. He definitely feels like he can handle more responsibilities than that are assigned to him. So there is a part of that that's there at this present time in the show.
Good deal.
Okay. And then Buck, I think you had a really good question. You want to go to that one?
Oh yeah. First of all, what's good, bro? We was exchanging back and forth on the Instagram. Nice to, meet you and whatnot. But to take it to episode 5 for a second, pretty much I was gonna ask you, Lulu was like talking slick or whatever, and he mentioned your babe moms. Will that, without you saying too much, will that play a factor into like maybe the friction between you and Jukebox? Like, will it be secrets revealed somewhat? It shows like maybe y'all fallout has something to do with the distance between you and Jukebox.
Well, two sides to that, which is we don't actually know all of what goes on. As far as we don't know, like the show is new to us, like it's new to y'all. We don't see the edits. We don't know what they actually keep. Sometimes we'll shoot a whole sequence of that line up with the story, and then they decide, looking at once it's all cut up and put together, they say that didn't work and that doesn't really fit, or that didn't move the story along, so they trim the fat. So
okay.
We don't know what's going on. And then we shoot out of order too. So there are a couple factors. So to what you're asking, I don't know really, because the thing about it, up until this point, Jukebox and Marvin storylines don't really cross. Marvin is busy being nefarious in the streets and doing all that stuff, and Juke is working on her music thing. So, but we will see in this season where Marvin and Jukebox decided they gotta have this discussion that they've been probably both suppressing for a while, which is like, yo, let's just figure out why we have all this discourse between us. And so through that, we kind of have an idea what's going on with those two. As far as everything else, I think I guess people have to kind of watch and see, as far as baby moms and all of that, and the old relationships and the new, because all of that stuff is still being revealed to us characters within the show. Like sometimes I've seen clips, and other characters will tell me information about my character that I didn't even know. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I'll be like, oh, and it's wild that happens. And people watch the show that ask me, they say, yo, people they'll chime in on the live or something. Okay, so Jukebox, she got 2 puppies. Right? So who bought her a puppy? And I'm like, I don't even know. It was a puppy. But that's your daughter, right? I'm like, I know, but I don't really know. I just focus on what I got to do, my parts. So that's why it's all new to me, how all the story and everything come together, because we don't know. So y'all may know more than what I know about the story, really, as a whole. But we'll have to see. I don't want to give too much, but I don't really know about when we're going to introduce the moms, or if she's introduced at all.
What?
That's interesting.
That's crazy. That's how you keep it fresh, though.
I don't know what the other characters got going on. If they, but for me, I don't know if that's happening.
Ah, interesting. Now, LaWanda, I want to throw to you.
Yeah, so I'm glad you kind of said that about you kind of not knowing what's going on with your character until you kind of see the script, and sometimes when you see the show. So I wanted to take it back to some of the other roles that you've played. So you played D in The Hustle, played Reggie on Ballers, and now you're playing Marvin. And so when we watch those shows and we see those characters, what I started to wonder is what parts of those characters are we seeing that you're bringing part of yourself? Like what is in you that comes out when you're playing each of those characters, or what part of them is most like you?
I think for me, I'm always trying to find ways to incorporate me into these parts so that the characters are 3-dimensional. Mm-hmm. Like, I never want these characters to kind of be flat. So, for example, even with Reggie, if people look at Reggie as with all the seasons put together, they'll see Reggie go from being trifling to being responsible. Like the character's got to grow somewhere. Otherwise, they just become one note. They get boring. Because even with like Reggie, Fat Reggie was only supposed to do maybe a couple episodes. He was a sidebar idea. Not a series regular at all. And then I did the audition and they decided to make him a lead and bring him along. So this is to say that I was doing a lot of improvising on that show, especially like season 1, because they didn't even have the lines flushed out for Reggie, because Reggie wasn't supposed to be there. So we was going off each other, and the writers and I, we would talk, and then we arc Reggie into something else by the end of the season. So even with Marvin, you know, people are always talking about, man, you always eating like Reggie. You always eat like Marvin. I'm like, yeah, Marvin's eating like me. I brought that to Marvin. So that's just me making these characters, again, 3-dimensional and creating a substratum of layers to them so that they're not flat. Like we all, whether we are aware of them or not, we all got little habits that we do. Sometimes some of us, you know, OCD, you know, just like people sometimes they don't wash their hands, but they don't count those things because nobody sees those things. But with Marvin, it was important that I just kept him, and this comes from theater. We learned like, I like small business. So if people look back on the characters, they'll see that I was eating when I played D, I was eating when I was playing Fat Reggie. But it's not only eating. I think with Marvin, the eating aspect was highlighted because the writers put that on the head of the whole idea. But I do a whole lot of small business, you know, that people may not catch unless they go back and say, oh, this is what he's talking about. We noticed that this character, like I said, was a little OCD about these things, or this character always needed to, you know, file his nails, or he's always checking his hair. These small things that, small nuances, I think that just help keep characters interesting. Even though they're not saying anything, you still want to pay attention to them. So I try to bring me, like, or even with Marvin is not the comic relief of the show, nor were we going for that at all. But whatever people found funny about Marvin, that's just London coming through and finding these comedic moments where I was like, oh, that's funny. Let's put that there, and let's, you know, because again, Marvin has a really, really dark side to him. So just like with Reggie, we don't want to just play one side. I'm glad people like Marvin in his first half, and he's funny, these other things, so that as we begin to show these other sides of Marvin, people say, oh, this is connected. This is why, you know what I mean? And all of it is to build these characters to be for like real people, as opposed to just playing the irresponsible brother, and he's always getting into stuff, and then he's always mad because everybody's yelling at him. He's not that. Marvin is charming. He's charming with women one day, then he's like an OG to his nephew Kanan. There's that aspect. There's the whole insecurity, a little bit, or not insecurity, but just feeling like there's a little tension between him and Rock. Mm-hmm. But then also Marvin will go from 0 to 100, you know, real quick, and he'll snap. And then, but he's a hero. So it's all kinds of things. If we really look at the characters, there's some other stuff going on underneath.
Wow. That's awesome. You are playing the heck out of that role. And the first thing that came to mind about Marvin, though he has all these shortcomings, charming was one of them. So you did mention that.
Marvin, cool. Marvin can talk to a woman, but at the same time, I gotta keep it real. Marvin ain't with the cuddling.
No.
What's up with that? Yeah.
You know what? I run into guys on the street, and that's just, let me say this, I can be PC. That's just a real Negro move. You know, that's just one of those things where if the guy isn't connecting with that woman on that level, cuddling is just way too intimate. It's way too personal. And it's not to say that Marvin doesn't like cuddling. He just don't like cuddling with her.
With her. Okay.
Yeah. He got people was upset that Marvin took his dog back, or took the dog back.
She wasn't feeding the dog.
She didn't feed the dog.
But none of the women see that. You wrong for taking your dog back. And I'm saying,
oh no, I was with you for taking the dog back. She didn't feed the dog.
Yeah.
You the realest on the show, hands down.
I mean, Marvin took the dog. If Marvin knew any better, he would have called Peter. You don't leave. He was irresponsible with that dog. So I mean, those things they just help to keep Marvin and these things around us again. So he's just not the one trick pony kind of a, you know, character. But I'm glad people can kind of start to see the different sides of him. And as the show goes on, you can see more sides of Marvin that are maybe a little shocking.
Now, I wanted to ask, is this really Marvin, the character, or is this a little London mixed in with Marvin?
You know, sometimes someone asks me that, and sometimes it kind of feels like an alter ego because I ain't gonna lie. There's been a couple of people I've been wanting to slap up, but I'd be in jail if I did have the stuff if I really was Marvin. But that's the cool thing. That's the cool thing about playing characters like this is that you kind of get to do these things. Like I mean, I don't smoke, but on the show, it's cool to have the cigarettes and but it depends on what part of Marvin. Like being well put together, keeping my hands clean and keeping the haircut. Those things, London likes, but it also works very well with Marvin. But as far as shooting people and all of that, nah. But all the fun, like I think is London. I think.
Excellent.
Dope.
I want to ask you, I know you're from South Central LA. I just got back from LA. And I wanted to know how it felt for you to portray a New Yorker on this show, since you're from LA.
It's that part was really that part is always really challenging because I'm LA, so being from South Central LA, I just had to even get with like a dialect coach and learn to drop my R's and different things like that, as opposed to pulling up in a quarter and grabbing a bag of quarters. I got to let all of that go and work and just live and breathe here. And that's why I'm glad I'm able to like actually live here and work on a project. I just listen to a lot of Nas. I listen to hip hop anyway, but I just really tried to embrace, what was going on and get into a community of people that I could really kind of interact with. But that part it's always still very challenging. Like I'm always getting with the coach and just going through the language and understanding, because like the different bros, that's different. There's some different twangs and twings that are different. And then also as a family unit, we kind of want to sound alike because we have grown up together in the same house. So it's all of that. It's a challenge, but it's a challenge that I look forward to. I had a little bit of an idea about the dialect because I used to watch a lot of Denzel movies. Denzel, he's always really, articulate with all his words. He makes sure that he's clear about what he wants to talk about, and he has a Mount Vernon, So there's some dialect stuff in there that I was able to pull a little bit from, and along with listen to that and listen to some clips of 50. So it's a working process, it's a working process.
Yeah. And, along the lines of that, like, I think that I seen somewhere that you were also an impressionist. And so I was wondering if that kind of helps with the getting the dialect together too, because your Denzel is on point.
It's very on point. I was about to say.
I do a couple voices, but I got some friends who really, really doing, but it did definitely help because I didn't understand, it helps as far as like even doing voices is like singing. Like you can kind of hear voices and know from just hearing them if they're in your register or not. So with some of this and being like a big fan of Jay and how he articulates the vowels and the E's. Like there's small little things like that where I can kind of pull from and kind of work them in. Not doing those voices, but just how they bend vowels and how the words work. So all of that kind of helps. To kind of help me escape to be, Marvin and whatnot.
Okay.
I got a question, if you don't mind, though. You are a very successful comedian, and I can, of course, see it here, but you're also equally successful as an actor. Which of the two do you enjoy most?
Man, I think for my particular style, they really kind of work hand in hand because, well, if I had to choose one, it would probably be stand-up because I don't need anybody's permission to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's all me, good or bad. I'm the writer, creator, director. It's all me, and it's just a different kind of a freedom, and a different kind of connection that you get instantly. It's just, but that's why the transition from doing theater into stand-up wasn't that hard because it went from basically stand-up is nothing but like a one-man show,
Right.
which is the same thing as theater, and the feedback is instant, and you get to get that same vibe from theater with doing stand-up. But now as I do stand-up, I go into the different characters, I talk about the different stories. Now I got to act out somewhere in there when I tell these stories. So the acting is able to be incorporated into stand-up, just like with the act I'm able to incorporate stand-up, and with stand-up I'm able to incorporate the acting. So they work together. And honestly, I think that doing stand-up helps keep my timing on the acting side of things. So for my style, they work together.
Excellent.
Awesome. Speaking of time, how we doing with time? Do you have time for maybe like 2 more questions?
Sure, whatever you guys like.
Okay, cool. All right, LaWanda, I want to throw it to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to see which one I want to go with. So I think I'm always interested in the journey of an actor. And so with each of these shows, the shows are getting larger, the characters are having more notoriety. And so that translates into your life. So is your life changing any because you're getting these bigger roles? Are people starting to recognize you more?
It is changing, and it kind of, I started seeing the peaks of this during Ballers, but it's little things. It's little things sometimes where, like, as opposed to just being London, now I'm cousin London, nephew London. Man, with the high school, they get some, it's some of that gets going on. Wedding proposals.
Wow.
Who's trying to marry you?
Say it again.
I said, who's trying to marry you?
People I don't know. People who looking for a come up, they don't understand. People think because I work with like Dwayne Johnson and 50 Cent, I'm making their money. I ain't making their money. I'm still doing regular. I got paid. I still help my moms and different people with rent now. I got regular stuff I got to do. But it's little stuff like that, man, where I realized that people I hadn't spoken to in years. And then, like after the first episode or two, then, people hit me up, you know what? I don't know why I didn't tell you before in high school, but I just always felt like in my heart, I was like, just like, so they get that kind of silly stuff, man. But in general, it's cool, man. I try to make time to talk to people on the street. Like I was coming through, I'm in New York, so I was walking. Now I've been walking this route every day for months since I've been filming. But the show dropped, and then I remember passing the street, and I could hear people in the back. I look like the dude from the show. And I'm coming from the gym, so I'm in a white t-shirt, sweats, and looking real regular. And I went back and said, "Hey man, thanks for watching the show." He said, "Yeah, man, where you stay?" Now I don't know. It's a group of them out there. So I want to tell them where I live. I was like, I'm in the percentage, They said, "All right, man, well, just know that you got a pass, man. You good." I was like, I didn't know I didn't have a pass, but it's like, for these past 6 months, y'all been thinking about robbing me, but now, so it's cool with the love that people have and people connect with Marvin, and that's why I'm very grateful. I broke this down on my Instagram like a day ago. Of how grateful I am that people even care to even talk to me, because I know people don't have to talk to me, people don't have to watch the show. So when people want a picture or something like that, I try as best I can to give them that moment, because I know what that feels like to want to just simply be acknowledged. And even though sometimes Starz don't even want me to do it, but I know what that feels like to just. And I think a lot of times corporate people don't really understand how you can't tell Black folks no just like that. When you get into a space, you can't. Somebody come up, "Hey man, I like your character, making a bit. Get a picture." "No, man, I can't do no pictures." "Oh, really? You can't?" They don't understand.
Social media and the blogs.
They don't understand us. That's why I gotta slow down. I say, let me take a real quick picture. Hey man, I gotta get to work. And I try to give people or give them whatever advice I can give them. That's why I got a thing on my Instagram now, where I just allow people to ask the questions. I go live, talk to them, connect, because I know what that feels like. But also I try to, it keeps me very grounded too. I try to give my time, or I do a lot of giving, because giving is definitely one way to keep the heart in check. So I try to do things that keep me very connected and very grounded.
Well, your
You've done a
gift.
great job of that.
Thank you.
You're always so humble and engaging, and you're what you just said just leads right into my next question, because I had joined one of your Instagram lives before, and you were given this anecdote where you were talking about a time when you had like $48 in the account, and you were like, it's not about the $48. Like some of y'all not gonna get it, but I felt like you were trying to impart a life lesson to us. So I was like, I want to hear what you want to say to the people about that.
You know, in general, I think people assume, you know, because you're on TV, like, because TV is so like this so far away, this esoteric idea, but I remember at the time I had a show on TV, The Hustle, my first TV show, and I was working in the after school program at the time. And then I remember I had like $28 in my account, and the staff were like, "What are you doing here? You on TV?" But I knew it wasn't my time to leave yet. I was working with kids, and I do feel like the years that I was teaching kids, I was supposed to be, that was my mission at that time, was to invest my energy into those young people. And not to be self-aggrandizing, but I do a lot of different things. And not that all these different things I do are necessarily like my passions, but I felt like God gave me a bunch of these gifts because he knew that I would give them away. Our gifts are not for us anyway. That's why when it comes to the idea of humility, on a basic core level, it's not that difficult to be humble if you understand where it comes from. It's like who flosses in a rental car? It's not yours. And so I understand that my gifts are not mine. I'm just the person, I'm just the vessel to, you know, I'm supposed to give these gifts away. So this is to say, my ability to cut hair or whatever, I don't wake up thinking, like, I'm not driven by cutting hair. But when I was teaching, there are a couple students and young men that I taught how to cut hair, and they still cut today because now that was their fire that needed to be lit. So even though I had the $28 in my account, the core of that conversation was being able to have the discipline and the focus to stay, to keep at it. You know what I mean? And because there's a lot of different, I got a bunch of like no stories where I remember my first agent told me they wanted me to go do a beer commercial, and I didn't want to advertise drinking because I know what drinking does and alcohol does to a family. I come from that. So I was like, I don't want to push it. They got mad. London, you should do this commercials international. And then it was like, you know, you lucky we even want to represent you. I was like, that don't feel good in my spirit. So we got to, you know, I part with them. After Ballers, you what people think too. I'm with a big agency. I'm a hit show, #1 on there on HBO. And after that show, my agent at the time was just like, long story short, just like, yo, London, we got to part ways. Feel like we're too big of an agency. You probably got to downsize. I said, it's cool. I understand the game. I'm off his show. They're not interested. No problem. Fast forward like a couple months later, that's when I met this new agent. Right out the gate, we land power. So I'm not even, my trust is not in man. I don't focus on man at all. I'm with God. So whatever people gonna do, they're gonna do. That's why I don't have a problem speaking my truth, because I'm not, man is just man. I gotta keep my faith in God, because that's who gives me life. So let me keep it a buck and focus there, but not to be verbose about that. But the point is, I'm always trying to help people to just stay focused, because I'm not a dude who comes from this privileged background of anything. I'm just right from the hood. I'm just like, just stay focused, keep at it, and go after it. You know what I mean? That's as simple as it can get, but it's the discipline that it takes to really do that.
Well, your gifts will make room for you, and it has.
Exactly.
And, you know, and you're showing that, and it's a wonderful thing to hear that someone at your caliber is not only willing, well, first of all, understands what a gift is and is able to share that gift with other people and help them grow. Because I think out of all the things you can do, I think the highlight of it all is being able to give back what's been given to you. And so, you know, it's like sowing seeds in a forest. You want that, you want that forest to grow, so you plant the seeds in the ground, and then 10 years later, you see all these beautiful trees. And that's what you're doing. And that's what I hear. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because I'm sure that half the audience probably never thought that you have the wherewithal and the spiritual means that you come with.
Yeah.
That's why I like connecting with people, because first of all, I know people don't expect me to reply. I know they don't expect me to say anything. And also there's this reputation of people in Hollywood, that they act Hollywood, but it really excites me to really break all of that stereotype of all of those ideas of what they think I am. And, and I just really connect on a very core level of people, because on any level, whoever I'm going live with, or with anybody, any of you, myself, after you eradicate all the titles and the status and positions, like, who are we in our hearts? That's the core. Because I can lose. We know how this industry is. Anything can happen to Power. Just like Ballers, it was #1. It was HBO with Dwayne. They said no more. Dwayne said no more. That was it. I can't be functioning on those kinds of things. So by me being able to just try to share or connect with people in a grounded way, again, keeps me grounded. And then I'm also very comfortable helping other people be progressive. I don't feel no type of way when my friends do well. I'm not saying that I don't have issues, but I don't feel jealousy. That's not my bag, so if I can help you, again, that's why I do photography. Help my friends with their headshots. Here you go, please land something. Cause I'm comfortable. I'm going with my trajectory. It's like if we were both at a party, and let's say we're both at the bottom of a hill, because sometimes they have parties in the hills and you got to take a little charter or they'll pick you up. If we're both set on going to the party, if we're standing out front and your limo comes up first, I don't feel no type of way, because I plan on going up there too. So I'll see you up there. Go enjoy yourself if you get there faster. No problem, because I'm on my own path. And once people recognize that what's for you is for you and what's for me is for me, you don't feel no type of way. I don't want what ain't for me, no way. Because it ain't gonna work.
Exactly.
That's why people be trying to force other people's stuff on them. Then you actually, because this is how good God is, not to get all deep, but God said, okay, you want the car? I got one over here. You want to rush and get the car on your credit? Okay. I got a free car over here that's waiting for you. If you stay on the path that's for you. But since you want to go over there, go ahead. Now he'll give you the car because you asked for it. But now all of a sudden you pay, you can't cover the insurance on it. Now your house note start doing something funny. You got to take from the car note, pull to the house note, you lose the car. He gave it to you, but he had something that was designed for you. So once people recognize that there's a whole thing for you, but we got to get on track. Once we get on track, all the things that we want are already on the path. But I think a lot of people look for these shortcuts and these ephemeral ideas that don't last and be like, man, you burnt out because you went the long route. He said, I got the route. If you stay on, that's why people be thinking, they say something like, man, London, it's just, everything is just happening for you. It's not that everything is just happening quickly. It's just that I finally got in line. The stuff is, it's like a line and let me go this way. There's like a line and there are things that are just, they're on the path, but it's us that go and, do these other things that seem like the path, it's only dragging out our own success. But once we submit and say, okay, all right, I'm gonna do it your way. You look up and be like, I guess it is right. God be like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you that for the past. I let your bank account went broke, but you got the lesson now. I'm trying to help you. So these are things that I'm kind of learning as a real adult, where I just be like, man, let me just try to help other people get theirs, or be whatever helping I can be to others. As I get mine, to whom much is given, much is required. So I try to be a blessing to others if I can do that.
Well, this is real talk. Your ministerial attributes are glitter. they are
Mhm.
shining.
Yes.
And so,
Mhm.
I
You
mean,
better deliver a word on this good Sunday.
you know, because you
I heard that,
you preaching this Sunday. You
Yes,
preaching
he
this
is.
Sunday.
Oh, it is Sunday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's good. That's kind of what we like. We like that positive energy. We like to stay on the positive vibes because that's why we,
Yeah.
you know, it's all for motivation, encouragement, not just entertainment, but because we recognize that we all have an impact in some way. And so when you have a platform as large as you do, and you can speak a word into somebody to encourage them, that's good. We like that kind of energy.
That's what's up, man. Because you know, some people wake up mad. I'm like, how you mad at 6? It's too early. But people give so much power to these negative ideas, and we know once whatever we manifest, whatever we put our energy to, we're gonna draw more of that. So I'm like, I don't have time to focus on that. I got too many other things I'm trying to do, man. I just try to connect with people with good energy, good spirit, and who get it, man. And if you don't, then I'll try to help you get it, you know, so we can hang out, because I can't hang out with you if you're gonna keep missing it.
I heard that.
Mhm.
I heard that.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's clear. I knew that you were going to bring this type of energy, just the way I saw the way you engaged on social media, like you address everyone. You're always positive and everything. And like you said, you don't act Hollywood. And so I figured that we were going to have a good, positive, engaging discussion with you.
Okay.
Mhm.
I appreciate you even reaching out, you know, and I really definitely try to make sure that I try to make time for, you know, Black platforms and stuff like that, man, and I get it. So that's the least I can do. I try to do it, at least with professionals. Because I do got a couple people, they hit me up. Hey man, I got a podcast I started 2 hours ago. Like, I don't need to be your first. People don't understand. Like, I don't mind doing them, but don't let it run its course, because and not that I'm anything of anything, but save a guest like me down the line so it can really be beneficial. You can really get these people got all kind of broom stands and a little phone they trying to set up. I'm like, I'm trying to help you out, brother, but do your part so we're gonna make sense. That's all. But thank you. I appreciate you even reaching out. Thank you so kindly.
We thank you. We certainly do appreciate it. And before we head out, Bucky had like a really fun question pertaining to like your music taste in terms of, you know, you want to spit it, Bucky?
Oh yeah, for sure. So I feel like the soundtrack for Raising Kanan been fire so far. You know what I'm saying? I lost it when I heard Brand Nubian, and I'm born in 92, so you can say that I was ahead of my time, but I remember being a shorty bumping all of that. So I just wanted to know personally, what was you listening to in 1991, since the show takes place in that year?
Man, MJ is timeless. But anything with the hip hop stuff. I mean, I was really heavy with hip hop, but also I was at that time too, around the show. Bobby Brown was the guy in them late 80s. So I was definitely Bobby Brown, MC Hammer, all, you know, them early 90s. I was tapped in, but I do remember as a kid, like Michael Jackson was really big. I remember like Roger and Zapp, because I used to dance when I was a kid, so I had to be in the bathroom, pop lock, and all that sort of stuff. But then
We saw you dance on the show.
say it again.
We saw you dancing on the show.
I danced on the show.
You did a little bit. You bust a move a little bit. You did.
On Raising Kanan?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I know I danced. I can't think of when, but I know I danced.
Was it the first and second episode? It was a little something.
It was the second episode with Tony.
Yeah.
You said, well, who?
With Tony. You were in our office. Yeah.
You're right. See, now that's a part of me. It's real subtle, but I will throw a little stuff in there like that, just, you know. But yeah, when it comes to music and stuff like that, even to this day, I'm a music guy, man. So I listen to everything from jazz, and I just feel like overall 90s music, 90s era, 90s TV, it was just, think about some of the shows, it was just always good energy after you watched it. You didn't feel like burden, like everything from like even later on, like you get the Fresh Prince, you get the Martin, the Living Single, the Cosby, it's all feel good. The music was upbeat, you know, and so it's just a different time. That's why I still go, I kick with the 90s any day, no problem at all.
For sure.
I know. And then you got my 90s dude, Omar Epps, on the show. Like, he was one of my favorite actors of the 90s.
Nice.
So to have him on the show.
Yes.
Absolutely. Juice is just one of those. It's just one of those classics. We just don't, that whole cast, man. So that whole vibe and being able to work with him with having a veteran like that with the show, all this stuff is a good time for this project, man. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
Well, we thank you. We are so happy you decided to join us and share your energy with us today. We will absolutely continue to support you in all of your future endeavors, and we are rooting for Marvin to get it together on the show.
Yes, Marvin gonna try to do y'all right. He gonna try to get it together. So.
Okay. Hey, look, Marvin, I was real upset when you tore up that car, man. I mean to tell you,
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. A lot of people was upset, but hey, if you know Marvin not gonna be on no bus. So watch the next couple episodes. You'll see Marvin flipping some whips. Marvin ain't gonna go down.
As long as Marvin don't get killed this season, we need Marvin to hang around.
Yeah, it's not going to be the same show without you. I'm telling you.
You know what? I won't say that Marvin doesn't get killed this season. I won't say that. But I will say I'm shooting season 2. So.
Okay. That's good news. That's good news.
Good news.
No, it's good. It's good. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate
you.
Yes, man. Pleasure to meet you, fam.
What's next for London?
Right now, so as y'all know, I just mentioned, so right now we're in the middle, we're not in the middle, we're still in the beginning couple episodes of the second season. And then after we get through with this, or maybe somewhere, depending the schedule will allow, then I want to just get back into working in the clubs. Definitely after the season, I'll be in the clubs, but I've been asked to do a couple clubs here. So here in New York, so I'm gonna try to work.
Pull up. We have to pull up to see you.
Definitely.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna go work out some stuff, and then we'll be in touch, and I'll let a couple because the cast want to come out too. So I'm ready to work some stuff out. I just got to find the time to really do it because Marvin is really throughout the show, so I'm always on set. But we're gonna try to figure it out for sure. Absolutely.
All right, we'll come support.
Absolutely, we'll be looking for it. All right. Well, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you again for your time.
Thank you all. I appreciate you. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to meet you.
Good likewise.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
You don't know if my love is real. Baby, listen to me. Here's the deal. When you're not here, I'm not the same. I'm needing a new job.